It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Schick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Batshit crazy as always.
a little cracked, but I'm okay.
I hope everybody out there is doing okay. So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
This ought to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't get into crazy. So I probably won't have a lot to talk about.
Crazy.
I really don't know what I've done. I've been I've been watching a baby, and I'm tired. I know now why God lets these young people have kids, because when you get to a certain age, it's like, fuck, how did I do this, man? You know,
It's hard.
and I didn't do it with just one. I had two running around here, and it's like, how did I do that?
Well, that was crazy right there by itself.
Right? Lots of Red Bull and those little mini, I don't know what they were called, mini cross things that you could buy in the gas station. It was about 20 cups of coffee and a little white tablet.
Oh, those things. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No-dos.
Kind of like No-Dos, yeah.
Yeah, except maybe not quite the legal version. But anyway.
Yeah, but it was like mini, I can't remember. But yeah. But no, that's about it. We had the holiday, and of course I'm so excited that Friday, one more day, yay! The Boys comes out, so I will warn you guys, watch it now. Because next week when I talk about it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think they're dropping the first 3 episodes on Friday. So it'll probably be like Thursday night, midnight, or whatever. So I'm excited to get that back. Although they're releasing a lot of reports right now, and they're like, oh, Soldier Boy's not the role model you think he is. Oh, really? You think any of these superheroes on The Boys are role models?
Right. You realize that there was a book about this before the show, right?
And it was wrote by Garth Ennis. I mean, you know, he's not known to be too Disney. You know? So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And then I just found out Obi started, so I'm gonna have to get caught up on that one too. I let it slip right by me. But I've been consumed, like most of America here lately, with the trial that's been going on. And now it's over. It ended happily. But I don't know what to do now.
Oh, God.
Meanwhile, the rest of us like, yes, it ended. We are
Finally, it's over. Yay.
Yeah.
The internet can get back to quote-unquote normal.
I know for a lot of people it was for entertainment that was watched, but I think for a lot of people too, it was kind of like, we need a win, you know, for, you know, all of the bullshit you've gone through in your life, and people have told you that you're crazy and it didn't happen that way, and pretty much gaslit you into keeping your mouth shut. They needed a win. And I feel like this was it, you know. So I know that, you know, behind that win's face was Johnny Depp, but I think at this point it could have been any high public figure that people would have been interested in watching, for one, but it could have been anybody, and I think we'd still be getting these same reactions. So, but and people are like, oh, this has never happened before. Okay, I guess I'm a boomer because I remember OJ, and I remember people being glued to that TV screen just the exact same way. So this has happened before. I honestly think, for transparency's sake, that most court cases should be televised or made to the public if you want to watch it. I know that they do with some minor, like traffic court and that kind of stuff. There are some on there that I watch. So it wasn't just Johnny Depp I watched. I've watched, those guys and stuff too. To me, when the legal system works, it's beautiful, but when it doesn't work, so, but yeah, I'm hoping they do. I would have loved to have seen the Ghislaine trial. I know that's federal court and they never televise federal, but I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that one. But yeah, and right before this, we had the Rittenhouse trial that was made public, and everybody was very involved in that one too. So I think, especially now after this, we're going to see a lot more of this, just because of how it was received and things. We've always had things like court TV and that kind of stuff, but
right, which nobody watches.
Right. Well,
unless there's a big high profile case like this.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm one of those weirdos. I'll watch it, but yeah, I also watched like Casey Peterson, or Lacey Peterson, and the Casey girl who drowned her kids. They televised hers too. So, there's quite a few. And like I said, to me, it's interesting how they can put a case together and how you can have something that completely says this lady drowned her kids, and then the jury goes, no, we don't think she did, and that's all it takes. And that's sometimes it's depressing, but that's the way it's designed to work.
The slippery slope of reasonable doubt.
Yep, you are to be judged by your peers. So sometimes they hit the nail on the head, and like I said, I won't talk a lot about the Johnny Depp case, but in this case of Johnny Depp, the internet knew more than what the jury got. So it's kind of, that was interesting, because even with everything we knew, we didn't know what the jury was deciding, because here you have 12 people from 12 different backgrounds who maybe didn't see the evidence the same way you did. Maybe they saw something on the video that you didn't, or they heard something on the audio you didn't.
Right, and they're sequestered, so they don't get the opportunity to watch 35 different opinion videos on YouTube every night about that day's proceedings.
Or hear the second 911 call, So there was a lot of things. So I found that interesting too, because this was also a case where when he first started this case, people were kind of like, that's going to be really hard for him to prove. And then the more we got into it, it was like, wow, this is going to be hard for them to disprove, So I think we will see a lot more of it. I also think we will see like a Lifetime movie or something about the last 6 weeks.
Just the one? I think some of those networks will be racing to get a movie out about this.
Right. Well, think how quick Netflix did Elizabeth Holmes. She had just finished in court, and they were already broadcasting it. So, but yeah, I don't know. And honestly, I think with some of the details that were released in this court case, I would not want to watch it. I couldn't watch it. No. So, but yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything.
Cool.
Mikey.
Well, I'm glad you had a boring weekend.
Yeah. God, I wish. Boring sounds so fun.
Wouldn't boring be awesome? God. Boring is great.
I'll even settle for normal.
I don't believe in it anymore. I don't believe in normal. Doesn't
It's
exist.
fantasy.
Never existed. Normal has been a lie forever. But anyway, speaking of normal, so I finally managed to get finished with a documentary that I started watching weeks ago, because it's essentially like a 9-episode miniseries. And I'm not a binge watcher, so it takes me a while to get through stuff like that. Fortunately, this one was entirely worth it. And it is called Hey Mo, Hey Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in 2015, and it is a pretty damn detailed telling of the story of the Three Stooges, primarily spearheaded by Moe's son, Paul. So lots of cool insider information, which is funny because he's actually the kid who didn't want to have anything to do with the family business, as it were. And so he took off as soon as he could and went and made a career somewhere else. So all of this is coming back after decades and sort of getting settled back into all of it and making some sense out of it in his own head. So there's quite a bit of kind of fun, almost psychoanalysis, but not quite. But it's really interesting, and like I said, lots of insider details on the lives of all of the Stooges, basically. Lots of cool interviews. Lots of really useful information. I mean, and given that we're talking about 9 hours of stuff, you'd hope it was informative, right? I mean, I've seen stuff like that isn't, but this was really well done. I said this last week about someone else, but I can't say that the younger Mr. Howard is the best narrator in the world, but it was certainly heartfelt. So that makes up for a lot.
Yeah.
And you can watch it now on Tubi. And it will take a while, so get started.
Cool.
Yeah, I remember watching that a few years back and really enjoying that. I wouldn't mind watching that again. So, some really good stuff.
Yep.
Especially watching the home movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of home movies.
A lot of home movies, and I love that because that made it more personal.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, but
clearly some of these folks really love being in front of a camera.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not surprisingly.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
all I got for this week.
Okay.
I'll try to do something interesting next week.
Alrighty. Les.
Well, you got me beat. I did absolutely nothing. No reading, no watching videos. The one thing I did do, unfortunately, is take a defensive driving course online.
Ooh.
Good Lord. I started at 3 in the afternoon. And in this test, that nobody can fail. Because if you don't meet the requirement, then they say go back and take the test again. So you can't fail.
Right.
But they give you 2 30-minute mandatory rest times. And that's fine. I started at 3. I finished at 5 minutes till 1 in the morning.
Dang.
You tried to do it all in one sitting? Damn. That's hardcore.
I just wanted to get it out of the way. And now I wonder why.
And now you know better, right? That's cool.
Yeah, I know better. Now I know
And no, it's half the battle.
to give it to somebody else to take for me.
G.I. Joe.
It just, I was drained. I finished and I said, thank God I'm going to bed.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last.
So that's about what had happened with me.
Okay.
See, I don't know if it's still a possibility because it's been a long time since I had to take drivers defensive driving. Not rubbing it in or anything, but
Sure.
Too late.
I heard the ha-ha at the end of that.
But well, I had to do it. Was kind of. I mean, the internet was around when I had to do it, but it was not a thing like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to spring the extra, and I went to the Improv to do my defensive driving.
Uh-huh.
And that is absolutely the way to do it if it's still a possibility. Because holy shit, that was fun.
Years ago, I think I went to like Spaghetti Warehouse and had dinner and did mine.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I think that was an option too when I did it. But yeah, I mean, there's got to be. I mean, Jesus, there's got to be some sort of comedy defensive driving thing online now, right?
Yes.
It's just a matter of tracking down, figuring out what you want to do. You know.
I think the last time Phil did it, that's what he did was some comedy one online.
So apparently the thing we're learning this week is we're all sucky drivers.
Right. Hey, mine was years ago, like before internet, so.
That's the story I came up with too. So.
Right. It's been a while since I've been caught.
Being caught. Okay.
I've seen since the pandemic,
They
I just
taught me
don't
how
fucking
to-
drive, so it's a lot easier that way.
They taught me how to hide it better, you know.
That's what you need to learn. That's what they need to be teaching you.
Yeah.
Cover that shit up more. Come on.
Yeah. And I can tell you guys, if you're driving through Texas, Anna, Texas, they will light your ass up every time.
That is good to know because I live
Yeah.
not that far from Anna, Texas.
Anna, Texas, there's so many speed traps on that highway. What is that, 75?
75, yeah.
Yeah. So many speed traps.
You want to watch out for speed traps. Take 287 out to Amarillo. Because not only is there a bunch of small towns along that highway, they intentionally jack the speed limit down every 20 miles. So that you have to go 35 through all the towns. And it's real easy to miss those speed limit signs. I'm just saying.
Well, and isn't that like, not the one that's in Austin, but isn't that like the main headquarters of like the DBS and stuff is in Amarillo?
There is a big facility in Childress, I believe, which is like 2/3 of the way to Amarillo. It's out in that direction.
Yeah. Past the or the Cadillac graveyard.
Yeah, there might be one out there too. I don't know. They're all over the place. They're everywhere. I mean, come
They're
on.
everywhere.
They're
Yep.
everywhere.
Big Brother's always watching.
Oh, this goes taking an
So I'm
interesting
writing
turn.
these down.
I was going to say, unless you go to Oklahoma a lot, remember Anna. You've probably seen him a few times there.
Oh, yeah.
And right when you get around the casinos, too. It's like there's probably only 4 cops in that little town there. And they're always, like, right there at the casino. So don't speed past the casino.
You go into a casino and they're giving out free liquor. So guess what? You're going to bust all kinds of drunk drivers on the way out of that place.
Yeah. Free liquor only if you're on the floor playing.
If you're gambling.
Yep.
You could be dropping shit into the penny slots and they don't care. They'll give you
Yep.
scotch and water or whatever.
When we went to New Orleans, we would play the nickel slots, and we
Mm-hmm.
had a rule. We're only going to feed $20 into this machine, and that's it. Once you lose that, that's it. And we
Famous
stuck
last
to
words.
No, we stuck to that because it was our honeymoon too, and it was like,
We didn't have nothing.
we want money to go do something nice instead of slot machines, which we did. We went on the Anne Rice tour, so. Well, I did. I drug Phil along kicking and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For me, not a whole heck of a lot. I've been working on the schedule for the podcast.
Somebody broke the schedule for the podcast, didn't they?
Well, no. I mean, there was
Wow,
other things. So,
Hint,
but
it
no,
was me. I
was gonna
broke it.
say we have
no.
people fleeing the country and shit. It's like, wow, I thought I was the outlaw.
And on the run.
You thought.
Not just that. Just I've been just working on other stuff. Yeah. So yeah. I did catch a documentary. I don't know if y'all have mentioned this in the past, and I just did not remember it because I came across it by accident on YouTube. It's entitled "I Knew It Was You: Rediscovering John Cazale." Does that ring any bells to y'all?
No,
No.
I didn't know it was him.
Huh?
I still don't know who we're talking about.
I said I didn't know it was him.
John Cazale was an actor who died in 1978 at the age of 42. Did a bunch of plays on Broadway and off Broadway. Has one credit on TV side. For the movie side, he has only 5 films. But here's the titles of those films: The Conversation, The Deer Hunter, Dog Day Afternoon, The Godfathers Part 1 and 2. Those are his 5 films.
Dang.
He is best known as Alfredo Corleone, Al Pacino's older brother who was a little slow. And the title, "I Knew It Was You," is actually a quote from Godfather 2 where Michael said, "I knew it was you that would set up the family. But you were the one that betrayed us." That's the reference for the title. This is an amazing documentary, but it's very short, like at 40 minutes. And it focuses pretty much on those sets of years that he was doing the films. Talked a little bit about him growing up a little bit, but it was mainly there. But you have Al Pacino, you have Gene Hackman, you have Meryl Streep, you have Sam Rockwell, you have Steve Buscemi, who are all talking about this guy. And the thing that amazes me is hearing Pacino and Streep and Hackman going, this guy made me work harder, made me want to do better than what I was doing before because of what he was doing. It's an amazing film, and like I said, he just did those 5 films. That's a very impressive list right there.
That's a hell of a testimonial.
Yeah, he died just before The Deer Hunter was released. But the thing that really kind of made it sad, after listening to all these directors and actors and just gushing about how incredible he was, and you of course they got clips so you could see it for yourself. Right there in it said in those 5 films there was 30 Oscar nominations, 14 of them for acting. He received none of those nominations. And it was just like, wow. And of course he died from lung cancer in 78.
Man.
I believe.
At 42?
Yeah. At 42.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. At 78, so he could have been around another 40 years. God knows what else he would have done. But it's a really interesting but kind of a sad documentary, because you think about Pacino he was so glowing about him, just talking about all the stuff that they did. They knew each other even before the films. They had done a play together. That's how they became friends. Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's on here, and they talked about they were trying to find Fredo, and he had a certain look in mind, and I forgot who it was that was with him. Went to go see Richard Dreyfuss in a play, and Cazale was in that play as well. So he was transfixed on Cazale. It says, "That's Fredo. That's our Fredo." So really, really good. Yeah, it's on YouTube, and we'll have a link in the show notes. But yeah, really good. The sad thing is other than the fact that he died so young, is this is a really short documentary. I'm like 40 minutes. That kind of surprised me. I thought it would be a little bit longer. And it really kind of doesn't go into a lot of his personal side, other than the fact that he was actually in a relationship with Meryl Streep when he died. She was actually taking care of him.
Wow. So,
sorry to bring everybody down, but it was such a good documentary. I've seen him in. I hadn't seen The Conversation, and I haven't seen The Deer Hunter, but I've seen the others, and so I was aware of him. And that's the thing. It starts off with the director kind of showing a picture, saying, "Do you know who this guy is?" And of course, nobody knew except for someone would say, "Oh, that's Fredo." So, well, yeah, that's his character's name. What's his real name? It's Fredo. It's like, okay, never mind. It kind of reminds me of those bits that were done on Tonight Show, with like Jay Leno, and I'm pretty sure Kimmel does it now on his show. But the man on the street, you ask them the question, and they just, where things go from there. So, yeah, highly recommend it.
Neat.
Sounds great.
It does.
Before we get into this week's discussion, I do want to point out we do have a Discord that we've had going for 2 years now. We post a lot of news items, post stuff for discussion. We'll post some stuff to kind of laugh at, memes, videos and trailers, and music, what have you. We'll have activities on there. We tend to do movie nights. So it's free. The sign up for Discord is free. The app's free. It's available in any app store. We do have an invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Just click on that, join our Discord image, and it'll pop up. And if you want to hang out with us while we're not doing the podcast, please come on. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Join us.
It is a lot of fun.
Join us.
We have cookies. Sometimes.
Wait, we have cookies?
News to me.
Aye.
Who's driving this van?
Well, certainly not the
We
one
have drivers?
defensive drive.
Oh. Ouch. Shots fired.
Oh, Les, how's that computer?
I'm not talking to you.
Hey, he did. I was the good one.
This time, yeah.
This time. Tom is getting me in trouble.
I didn't do anything.
I think we may all be in trouble after that one. I don't know.
Anyway, what are we talking about this week?
This is our 300. Yay!
Episode 300. Yep.
It is
Rah!
300. If I've been counting right the whole friggin' time, it's episode 300.
Right. We've had to borrow a lot of fingers and toes to get to this point. But we believe it's 300.
So
Seems like a lot.
it's one or two, yeah.
Now, I haven't been here for 300, so.
Oh yeah, rub that in now. Jeez. Allegedly, I'm the only one who has,
That's true.
Yeah.
which is really weird. But anyway.
Well, I'm just behind you by one, so that's okay.
So we need to be like Mike.
At your own risk.
So we thought we would just take some time to kind of reflect back and just kind of celebrate the fact that we've made it to 300 episodes. So when Mike and I started talking about doing something back toward the end of 2015, early 2016, and eventually decided to do a audio podcast. I think our thinking was, hey, let's do this, let's have some fun until it's not fun. And the fact that we made it this far is anyway surprised.
Clearly, we have some warped sense of fun, but you know.
Well, yeah. Are you surprised that we made it to 300, Mikey? Did you think we would make it to 300, or at some point say, this is, maybe we should be doing something else or whatever?
I don't know. I don't think I think about it in those terms. I mean, I think it's more complicated than that. I mean, I kind of, one of the things I was going to throw out was, and I feel like I'm sort of jumping the gun. I didn't mean to do that for sure. Is why are we doing this in the first place? You know, I mean, what's motivating us? I mean, we've been doing this a while. We've been doing this long enough that it's clearly not a coincidence. So what exactly is it that you guys get out of it?
Damn. We have to have motivation now?
No,
I'm kidding.
not at all.
I know for me, and I've told you guys this thousands of times before, I need this. I enjoy.
No pressure. Jeez.
I enjoy, getting together with you guys and talking, and I always feel like what or you guys make me feel like what I have to say is important, and
Blah, blah,
sometimes
blah,
even
blah,
if it
blah,
wasn't,
blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm kidding.
no, even if we're not recording the show, I just always have fun sitting around and talking. I think a lot of what our audience misses is what I enjoy the most, So I guess that's my motivation, is to stay connected.
Well, if our audience would join our Discord, they might get a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff, because we have some of the cut stuff
Yeah.
posted. So there's that.
We do. The stuff that's not fit for the main show
Mm.
for whatever reason.
Okay, Les, how about you?
I iterate. I believe it's the camaraderie. It's also the idea that working on the projects that have been outlined by you, Mr. Chick, mainly.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting to see how we can turn things and make some things that some of us don't really want to talk about. See Johnny Depp right there.
You'll know nothing.
It makes it fun. And I've traveled around the world to do these podcasts.
Yes.
So I look forward to them. Even if I'm not prepared, which no one can see, I'm sure.
Well, and another thing our audience may not know, how many times have you joined us from Hawaii?
Oh, probably half a dozen.
Right,
Yeah.
once a year.
At
We've been doing this
least.
for 6 years.
Yeah.
I think
So-
he damn near joined us from the hospital once.
Right.
I think Gina
That's true.
finally smacked him on the hand and said, no.
No.
I even joined you when I was in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Oh, God. I mean, to talk about crazy. He's even called in from Oklahoma.
wow. Now that's a low blow, young man.
So it
Yeah, a
was
little
kind of
bit.
hard to hear him on that tin can and string, but we got him here. That was more of an Oklahoman joke, not a
Okay,
Les
so
joke.
that's two people I'm not talking to tonight. How are
I
you,
thought you had a
Thomas?
coffee mug from Hawaii next
I
time.
thought she was the first one you weren't talking. Never mind. We're going to start counting again. That got us into this trouble in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Counting's hard.
Counting is really hard. Counting to 300 is especially hard.
Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate that dedication. It wouldn't be the same without you.
Well,
It
thank
wouldn't.
you, but I think we all need to take a bow.
Where are we going to take it to?
That would be easier if I was wearing pants.
Mm.
And that's what we call too much
Don't wanna know.
information. Thank you.
I thought this was the too much information episode. I mean, come on.
Timmy.
But yeah, my thing is, I mean, for me, I mean, it didn't used to be necessarily. Okay, for certain, at the beginning, it was an opportunity to hang out with you guys. But I mean, now that we've had all this pandemic shit, I don't want to say this is the majority of my social interaction with anybody, but because I do work, and so I have to
Right.
talk to people for that. But
Uh-huh.
Some of the life.
kind of, sort of, right? Don't
Just
tell
a guy
anybody.
going out of the country, you know.
I don't even want to go. All right, I
He
have
came
to,
like every other weekend.
but I don't want to. Long story. But yeah, I mean, I don't. Part of me wants to say forcing me to keep a weekly schedule, but it's not really forcing. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to. But making myself keep a weekly schedule is good for me, and I need to maintain some level of sociability, because if I didn't force myself to do it, I could very easily slip into a cave somewhere, and I'd have to change my business card to say hermit.
Yeah. See, I just broadcast out of the cave.
Yeah, we've talked to you about that echo before too, but
Mhm.
anyway.
You know. What about you, Thomas? What keeps you motivated?
Drugs.
This. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, drugs help.
Here, here.
This right here. this, because there are times, especially recently, y'all know what kind of frame my mind's been in. There are times that I really don't want to do this tonight. I just don't really feel up to it. And then by the time we're done recording and chit-chatting, and then we say goodbye, I'm like,
oh man, it's over.
But I had fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because people may not realize this. I mean, even though they may know it by some of the run times of our shows. We take hours to do this because we may do, like for tonight, our pre-show meeting, quote unquote, was probably an hour and a half at least.
Sorry.
It was over an hour for sure.
Yeah.
And I record everything.
Yes.
And it's going to all come back for blackmail later.
But it's always fun. It's always, I have a good time. Have a few laughs, learn a thing or two. It's fun. It's a little backstory for those who are not familiar with our origins.
Yeah, if this is your first episode listening to us, this is probably confusing as hell. But anyway.
This originally started as a group who met every Wednesday night at a comic book store, because Wednesdays is New Comics, with a store that's been gone for so long it's not even funny. But we would
that
literally...
store was gone before we actually started the podcast.
That's true. That's how long it's been gone. But we literally stayed 2-3 hours, and we would chit chat about everything. Yeah, mostly comics, but we would get into sports. We may get into politics a little bit, and movies and TV and that kind of stuff. And it usually the night ended with one of them, Joel, and Joel, if you're listening, hey there, brother, we do miss you, saying, man, we should really, people should be listening to this. And, Les was part of that group at that time. And I think Les and I kind of looked at each other and kind of did the Sure Jan thing. But, at some point, it kind of stuck with me. I said, let's try to do something. So we actually did a live show on Ustream.
For anybody who remembers that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of there, but I think our channel is finally gone, because I happened to check that out within the last year or so, and that link was no longer good, so they finally took that thing down. Not that there was any videos there, but we did either a weekly or a bi-weekly show. It was Les and me. And I would kind of come up with some kind of stuff for us to talk about. And of course, there was a chat room. I know Mikey was there when he could be, to kind of watch and chime in, that kind of stuff. And we had a few others. I never would have thought of doing something like that, even a year before we started doing that. And this was 2010.
Right, live streaming before live streaming was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before everybody else started doing it, I mean, well, there were some others. Shout out to Streaming Garage, who's been gone so long, but really wish it hadn't. That was a fun. That was actually trying to stream original content, as in shows and all that, and it was basically what we're getting now with Hulu and Netflix and all that. They were trying to do it on their own with original content. It did not last long, but God, it was some great stuff, and it was some great people there. But so we did that for a while, kind of took a break, and then we moved over to where we were using Google Hangouts, if I'm recalling correctly. And then at that point, Mike was brought in to be part of it, and then
Sucker.
yeah, and then a mutual friend of ours, James, was brought in as well. So it was the four of us, and that was a weekly show too, right? I'm trying to remember, was it weekly or was it every 2 weeks? I can't remember.
We went back and forth on that a couple of times. We did some of both, as I recall.
So, we did that and then kind of took a break for 2 or 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, it was a
but and now we're doing this. So it's some of those videos are on our website. You can check that out, or check out our YouTube. We have the link on the website. You can check out some of our older stuff. Unfortunately, I was not able to save a lot of it, but some of it was, I'll be honest, was not worth saving. Hey, at least I'm honest about it. But
we got to learn somehow, right?
That's right. So, but it can be a challenge to do this, especially trying to come up with topics and all that. Because this started out as a comic podcast, and we've kind of drifted away from that. We do talk about it from time to time, and we will continue to do so. Matter of fact, next year is going to be a little bit more comic book intensive, so just
cool.
A warning to everybody here. But that's the thing that's been kind of the negative, is it's just try not to repeat ourselves and try to do something that's different. And I think we've done that. I think the casting calls, how we've been doing the casting calls, instead of doing something that's okay, well, let's cast a movie for today. We don't do that. We hardly do that. Pick different time periods and different stuff. I think that kind of makes it an interesting challenge for all of us. And I've got a few coming down the road I think y'all will find interesting. I think some of y'all would really, really like. Less. So, but just stuff like that. Trying to do something different so we can kind of stand out from the other podcasts, and not try to be, okay, well, this is what happened in these shows this past week. Not to say there's anything wrong with that. There's a demand for it, obviously, or they wouldn't be doing it. I just try to do something different. But the main thing is to have fun. And I think we achieve both. I think we're more successful than we're not on both counts.
Yeah,
Me too.
It seems like after all these years, we've kind of sort of gotten the hang of this. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe.
Oh,
well,
man,
you are.
That was quick, right? Jeez.
I was just going to ask which way she was going with that one, but
I think it's clear. I don't know. This is the Liz puts her foot in it show, apparently.
You may be right. I may be crazy.
I may be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
But it
But
just
I
may be a lunatic you're looking for?
That's right.
Turn off the lights.
Don't try to save me.
That's pretty bad that we all got the Billy Joel reference there. But then again, we're all Billy Joel fans, so we better get that reference.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
Mm.
So,
go ahead.
From a song that's way closer to 40 years old than any of us want to admit. But anyway.
No, it just came out like last week, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's what we get for doing a nostalgia podcast, basically.
Think of the people we had join us, and we're talking about people of different statures in comics or film or anything. I think that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for a show that doesn't really do a lot of interviews, yeah.
That's because people are scary. Just in general, not anybody specific.
Yeah, it's because we're antisocial. That's why.
Well, yeah.
and proud of it, goddammit.
Mm-hmm. No point
And
in
work
hiding
hard
it
at
now.
that.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Les. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to think and say, you and I had people drop in here at the house to do interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had, well, our most successful was many years ago, and I still enjoy thinking about that one.
Kayla?
Yes, because she is such an open person and was open to talk with us, plus with her venture into the TV realm, we got one of her podcast members to join us.
Mm-hmm. That was a blast.
That was freaking amazing.
Yeah, we'll need to put a link in the show notes for. Yeah, that was actually still from our Ustream days. So yeah, that's a video. So be able to catch that. I'll put a link. We'll get a link in the show notes for y'all to check that out. But yeah, it's always fun with Perkayla, but with that additional element, it turned into a riot. It did.
No, I wasn't on the show for that, but I have met Perkayla quite a few times at some of the appearances she did at the comic book store.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love her to death. She is like so freaking hilarious and just so down to earth, and it's like as soon as you meet her, now it's no secret I'm very introvert and I have a hard time warming up to people. But like as soon as you meet her, it's like you know her. I'm like you've known her for freaking forever because that's the way she treats you.
She knows no strangers.
Yep. And instantly is the kind of and there's those type of people who are just loud and it makes you nervous. She's not like that. It's like instantly puts you at comfort. Like I know you, I got you. This is what we're doing. Absolutely love her.
We have not had her on here since we started the podcast. We need to rectify that.
We do. I would love to talk to her again.
Yeah, it's been a while since. I mean, I've chatted with her a little bit. She actually messaged me. You talk about the comic book store. She messaged me about a month ago. Right around, it was like the anniversary of one of the free comic book days where she made an appearance at the store, and she sent me a message with the picture that was taken of the two of us, saying that was her favorite picture.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we need to get her on here. So I need to work on that.
We do. And then, of course, every time we have David Pepose on,
yep,
we have a really good time.
Hopefully we can have him on again here real soon. But
yeah, he kind of went off and got big on us, didn't he?
I know, right?
Like,
that's kind of what happens when Marvel comes knocking at your door.
Right? It's like, wow, we knew him.
Well, I mean, I threw an invite to him. I was like, hey, whenever you want to come on, just let us know. We'll work something out. So, and I'm making that public right now, David.
Yep.
If you're listening, we would love to have you on anytime you want. We'll just work out the details.
Yep. We need a Ruby update.
We need an OZ update.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we're about due for another Kickstarter here real soon.
Yeah.
Not mistaken.
Of course, another favorite's always been Madeline.
Yeah.
She's another one who comes on and talks to you like she knows you, you know.
Yep, she's pretty good at that.
Yeah. Definitely good at what she does. So do you guys have a favorite show that sticks out in your head, or?
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Liz, do you?
Have a favorite show?
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my favorite episodes actually was when we talked about Lord of the Rings. I wasn't aware that Mikey knew so much about Lord of the Rings, so it was kind of like, let me pick your brain. And I had a lot of fun that night. Because I think I can't even tell you how many times we went off topic because we were only supposed to be talking about that one movie, but it was like, but he knows.
I bet Les remembers how many times we went off topic. It seemed like he was counting that night. I don't know why.
But I had a lot of fun that night. That was kind of one of those that when we wrapped, it was like, damn, I didn't realize we had talked that long, you know.
But Mike knew.
Several times.
Well, I pulled
he
up at the end.
He knew that night, and then he knew when he started editing the videos.
See, and for me, the answer to your question is really tricky because I have to re-experience it so quickly afterwards. I have a tendency, and honestly, it's mostly for the sake of sanity. I kind of have to forget them afterwards.
Right, tune it out.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, because I'm listening to it, and I'm not listening for content when I'm listening to it to edit it, and so I have to move on to the next one right after it because I mean, I am editing usually we record somewhere between Monday and Wednesday night. We aim for Monday, and it doesn't always work that way because, you know, real people, real stuff, real problems.
Life.
So I'm editing between Thursday and Saturday to drop it on Sunday. Well, we're recording it again on Monday, and I have to move on to prepare for the next one.
Yeah.
So I have to hang on to it long enough to get it kind of out, and then I have to drop it entirely. So to go back to an individual episode with 300 of them, there's no way I could pick a favorite because I would have to remember any of them for that to happen, which sounds bad. And I'm not forgetting them because I hated it or anything. Right. Yeah. I'm forgetting it because I have to move on. Because otherwise I can't do another one because my brain would really linger on it. I'm the guy, I mean, I talk about this fairly regularly. I can't binge stuff. I can't just watch a whole bunch of anything all at once. I'm at the point where I can barely watch an hour-and-a-half movie all at once. I have to break it up into smaller chunks because otherwise my brain doesn't process it right. And so to hang on, so I have this weird little glitch in my brain where I can remember. I mean, if I watch 20 minutes of a movie on a Tuesday night, I go back to it Thursday night, pick it up right at the same spot, and I don't miss a beat. My brain is weird for this. Normal people's brains don't work that way. So my brain parses things a little differently, and so I have to kind of be careful with that. But for me to keep 300 of these things all in my head would be it would break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to kind of not do that. Which if I wasn't doing kind of the technical aspect of it, if I wasn't doing the post-production, I don't know that my brain would work that way. I don't know. I've never not done it, so I'm not sure how it would normally work. As nobody cares about any of that, but that's beside the point. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about tonight, right?
Yeah.
We care.
We care.
Uh-huh. I appreciate it.
Les?
Yeah, you thought you deflected that, huh?
Yeah. He tried.
No.
We caught on.
Favorite. Outside having Percala on, I'm going to probably say the Casting Call movies or programs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we can get so frickin' diverse with this.
We do.
It's amazing.
Yeah. One of us cast in a comedy, the other one a horror. Yep.
It's the same subject, and for those who've not checked this out, if this, like Mike said, this is your first episode, wow, okay, hi. When I set up the casting calls, I literally just say, okay, it's this, whether it's a movie, a show. I think we've done a couple of animated series or movies or something like that. And then I pick a year, and that's about it in terms of information I give out.
Yeah, we don't get any other guidance. We literally make everything up on our own.
Well, because I think that's to our benefit because we've gotten such diverse casts.
Yeah.
And because we'll go different directions. So that wasn't intentional. But when I started out, unless there's something that I think, well, this is kind of the way I'm thinking we need to go, which has been, I don't think I've ever done it, maybe once. The Mission Impossible, I made sure we did it in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. So yeah. I agree that it's been fun. It's been interesting to see where you guys kind of go with the project, and I've never been disappointed. It's been very interesting and informative, and God, I know there's a lot of times I go, why didn't I think about this actor when I was looking at that? I know I've done that several occasions. It's like,
Well, and I'll even go so far as to say I honestly think that it wouldn't work if that didn't happen. If you were prescribing more for these things, I don't think it would work as well.
Probably.
I think it's that how we all come at it from our own angles. I mean, I think that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
And that's why it's still fun, even this many into it.
Yeah.
And I learn something from everyone we do. Well, every show we do, I learn something. And because of that, I enjoy it. If I didn't learn something, then I would almost say I wasted your time.
And even if it's just how crazy we are sometimes, you're learning something, right?
True that.
Right. Well, and I think that's why our little group works so well, is because we all bring something different, you know?
I don't bring anything different.
You're like very different.
I'm so different.
But I think it's also cool sometimes when we have a very, very different opinion from each other that we can talk about it and go, okay, I can see why you think it sucks. You're wrong, but, I can see why you think that without being, we can see why each other thinks the way that we do. And that's nice to be.
And part of that is that we can explain our point of view when we realize that it's different from someone else's. We can stop and, okay, well, this is why I think this. And
Yep.
I think that's getting to be rare, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's something like, hey, like I said, I hadn't thought about it like that before. That's cool.
And I think the other thing about the casting calls is I think the rest of us are trying to figure out how Liz is going to work in someone from Supernatural to the cast.
Of course. I think I've done so beautifully. I'll always keep them working.
Oh, man.
Well, for me, yeah, the casting calls are right up there. But I think the times that we've had have been so great because honestly, we didn't know what the hell to expect. Have been all the horror special episodes.
Yeah.
With us bringing in other podcasters, so that changes the chemistry a little bit. I mean, last year's with having Pitney and Amelia, oh my God.
Yeah.
There are who?
Pitney still owes me a duet.
Mhm.
Those have been fun, and that came out. That was something that came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
All the horror thing. So that's the other thing about this is something, I can have everything planned, but there's going to be something to come out of left field, and that's probably going to be when things are awesome. Because it's not something, it's just, I can't explain it. But those have been awesome. We've done 3 of them.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
who
it's like
was the last guy we had on? Was his name Daniel?
Kevin.
Kevin. I liked
Close.
him a lot too. Haven't we had a Daniel?
Daniel and my brother.
I don't recall. Maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, I liked Kevin too.
Yep. Podcasters are kind of a fun bunch, really.
Yeah.
Especially you get into the I mean, I'm always going to be in favor of indie podcasters. I mean,
Yeah.
the big companies that do that shit, that's all BS. I don't care.
They're sending their stuff in to be
Yeah,
edited.
give me somebody who's sitting there reading their stuff into a microphone and putting it out themselves. That's where the important stuff is happening, in my opinion.
I think there's more heart that goes into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It means more.
And it was nice to have him on because he was like, I don't get a laugh very much on my other one. And we had a hoot that night.
Oh, yeah.
So
Poor
It
Tom,
was-
we had fun with that movie.
we had perfect topic, perfect company. And sometimes that's the way our show works. It just,
It just clicks.
it just clicks. Yeah. And it can take a whole different turn that we never even thought we would get to.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what you're talking about, Liz.
Mm.
Hey, I'm not the only derailer.
Nope, not at all.
So let me ask you this. Is there anything you would like to see with the podcast that we're not doing now?
Oh, God, that would require planning.
Yeah. I kind of like the new formula we have now.
The news thing?
The news thing, and I know you said we were going to be more comic focused and everything else, but I kind of like that we've branched kind of out some now into the movies and books and that kind of thing. I I love my comic books. I always will. And I think that'll be something we always have in common. But there for a while, the comic world got really ugly.
And when I mean,
Ugly.
and when I mean, go
I
ahead.
think we navigated that very well, and kind of,
If by navigating it well, you mean we backed away
we did.
quickly. Right.
Well, and I think that's another good thing about our show. We never try to be controversial. I know sometimes my mouth I can start running and probably get into some areas we never should have went.
Again, I have no
My
idea what you
surprise
mean.
face. Yep, that's my surprise face there.
We try to be, something anyone can listen to and not like, well, they're calling me out. Unless you're stupid, then we will definitely be calling you
Ouch.
out. We always have that one,
Well, I think part of the deal with that is that we get enough of that in the outside world,
We do.
and so we don't need that here.
And
We
this
don't-
is our, safe haven.
This is our little escape from the world, and so we're here to have our little fun. And anybody who's listening who enjoys it as well, friggin' great. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Well, think we navigated a 2-year pandemic, and we never really talked about it very much. Of course, it came up a few times because that's just life at that point. But
You had to, yeah.
I think we did a good job of. This was to take your mind off of all the bullshit that's going on and lack of toilet paper.
Try to be positive in a very dark world.
Yeah.
So
Right, and it doesn't hurt that we recorded each of us in our own homes from the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was one of the things that we kind of had to navigate when we started doing the podcast itself was, straight up, I live 45 minutes away from y'all.
Yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't just drive to one of y'all's houses to do this every week. That would just be an incredible time suck. And I would never see my family, and they might prefer it that way, but that's not the point. I'm kidding. But
Well, could you imagine driving home after 11 o'clock?
right, or midnight.
Yeah.
We've
Or
recorded
midnight,
past
yeah.
midnight before.
Mm-hmm.
I think we hit 1 a.m. once, and that's starting at 8. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were already kind of, as far as the show went, we were in pandemic mode long before the pandemic ever happened.
Right.
So it wasn't. We didn't even miss a beat. We just kept doing what we were doing.
That is one weird thing. A lot of my friends who have listened to our show, I've had to explain to them that no, we're not all together when this happens. That, we are pretty spread out and it works. And that goes to the editing. So bravo, Mikey. You make us sound together.
Actually, that's the funny thing is that's actually a trick I had to learn a few weeks into the show. It never even occurred to me until we got some feedback and pointed out that it sounded that there was something that didn't sound right, and I kind of looked at it and was like, oh wait, okay, and I flipped the switch and it started sounding normal.
Yeah.
So, hey, kudos to feedback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love hearing stuff from people.
And we like it. Yeah. Unless you've taken something I've said totally out of context, but I won't go there.
I won't go there, but you did.
She
That did.
totally went there.
Just to be on the record that,
Uh-huh.
that's not what I said.
It's cool. We figured out the problem there. It's all
Yeah,
good.
we did. Yeah. And that's one of the great things is we don't get we hardly ever, 99.9% of the time we don't get that. So
We don't get complaints.
we don't.
Yeah, Tom always mentions it at the end when he's talking about stuff you can communicate with us about. But generally speaking, it's pretty positive.
Yep. How about you, Les? Is there anything you would like to see that we haven't been doing that you said, hey, maybe might try this out or something? Good answer.
Thought-provoking, wasn't it?
He just wants more beer.
You had to tell him that, didn't you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not talking to you either.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Right, sorry. Forgot. I have no idea what I did, but anyway. It's okay.
For one, you sided with her.
Did I?
Yes,
That
you
doesn't
did.
that doesn't sound like me at all.
You made fun of my driving and all that.
Oh,
so.
that, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, that.
Yeah, we're good. We shared we had that whole bonding moment before about driving. It's the only reason I thought I could get away with that joke.
And then I just turned it to shit. Okay.
We agreed that cop was profiling by pulling everybody on that sidewalk over.
Absolutely. What a jerk.
As far as something that I would like to see done, I guess just continue having fun and thank that we get the opportunity. Because, excuse me, that's a big thing. There are so many podcasters out there that don't get an opportunity to even voice themselves, or I should say wannabe podcasters. So I'm content with what we've got, and I want to continue on that road. And hopefully our listeners will adhere to that too. Just have fun, be safe. Those are the main things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although me and Les would like to request softer wheels on that bus.
We'll take it up with management.
Or better body
With
armor.
management, yeah.
We'll discuss it with management and see what we can do.
See,
got you.
I just knew somebody was going to mention the green M&Ms in the trailers again, but anyway.
You guys have trailers?
What? No. Of course not.
Nice cover.
It was witty, wasn't it?
Quick thinking, yeah.
That's why we pay him the big bucks there, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that witty?
Worth every penny, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys get paid?
Oh, hell no. Not at all. That is actually something I don't know how vocal I've been overall, but I have no desire to do this for money.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang. One, I don't want to hang a price tag on it, and two, I don't want to take money from people for this. We're having fun. We're just having fun. I don't want to make it more complicated than that.
Right.
Money changes everything.
It does.
Yep.
And then it'd be like
Become
work.
the Beatles.
And this so doesn't feel like work, so
Right.
I like that.
Right. If we start getting paid for it, it might start to feel like work, and
Mm-hmm.
that's less fun.
Or that you have to do it when you don't. Because like you guys said, there's days that life happens. I mean, it just gets up and smacks you right in the face, you know. And things happen to where...
No, Liz, what's that like?
Yeah. Please explain.
Man. Yeah. If it was like work, you'd have to Yeah. And there's just some days I'm not very happy. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on 300 episodes.
300.
Yeah, congratulations to us.
Yay.
Woo.
And thank you, folks, for listening.
Yeah, like Les always says.
Mm-hmm. He's very good at that.
Mhm. I guess we'll do this again next week. I don't know.
Don't press your luck.
No kidding.
And on that cheerful note, I guess we're going to go ahead and take a break. Right?
Yeah.
Unless you got anything else?
Now we can do that. We got some news to talk about.
Yeah, we do. The hell was that?
That was my breaking news sound. Okay, I suck at breaking news sounds. Okay.
No, try again.
Talk about a potential title.
Yes.
Try again.
Hey ho, Kermit the Frog here. And on that note, we are taking a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for our Geek News for You segment, where we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. We've been doing this for a couple of months now, and I think it's been kind of fun doing these. I don't know. Do y'all feel the same way?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I do.
I do like it.
So for this week, it's Mikey and myself. So, Mike, would you like to lead off?
Sure, I'll go first. I picked. I'm totally going to drag Liz through this. I picked a link that Liz dropped into Discord about a week ago. Yeah. This was. Yeah. So apparently, according to this quote unquote article, because holy shit, is this clickbait or what? NASA has allegedly captured images of a Sharkcano eruption.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, man. So apparently there is actually some vague amount of reality involved in this, but I don't quite know how far it goes. But apparently there is a volcano in the Solomon Islands, which has been observed to be the home to several species of shark. Which, okay, cool. Maybe they like the warm water. Maybe they like the feeding. Maybe it's a feeding ground. Who knows why they're there?
Nice vacation spot.
Right.
Yeah.
I probably
they-
wouldn't go in the water, but
They say the sulfur that the volcanoes put off some kind of bacteria that they like. And that's usually why they're located around these things.
right.
So it's like krill or something, I guess, is attracted to it too. So whatever they like snack on, like
Right.
whatever this stuff is put off.
Yeah, stuff like this is almost always either some sort of feeding ground thing or some sort of breeding ground thing. So it's either eating or screwing. 99% of the time, it's either eating or sex.
Or both.
Right, can be both too, absolutely. But so yeah, apparently this thing talks vaguely about NASA pulling images from I think their new satellite, one of their new satellites where they're taking pictures of the planet, and they spotted. I think they aimed it at the volcano because it has gone active. It was actually erupting at the time, and they took some pictures and I guess caught sharks in the background. And so the obvious Sharknado
NATO.
cultural reference that we now are stuck with got sort of jumped on with this, and we now have Sharkcanos, or a Sharkcano. And I mean, it's so clickbaity. It's just not even funny, but it's also equal parts hilarious and just waiting for a movie adaptation of some sort, because why the hell not, you know?
Well, I mean, I posted a comment saying it sounds like it smells like a sci-fi channel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering when Jensen Ackles is going to get involved in this project.
Yeah.
He will be.
Because
He'll be the sheriff to round them all up.
Because how the hell else are we going to get Jensen Ackles into this
Yeah.
segment? Because apparently this is not the Geek News for You segment. This is the Jensen Ackles moment.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And his first line will be, "Son of a bitch."
Of
I
course
can
it
see
will.
it. I forget the name of the new telescope that was supposed to replace the Hubble that they launched. But some of the pictures they have sent back, oh my God. It's like, how did we do this before again?
Not
as
very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Not as well. That's the answer.
We're seeing close-ups of planets and things that we have. I mean, it's just freaking amazing.
We can see things.
Yeah. They had one that it was a satellite that we were using, and it was about dead. So they're like, we're going to plunge this thing to the center of the sun and get some really cool pictures before it poofs, you know. Well, it got caught in the solar flares and kind of spun it around. And the pictures that it sent back, you could see like Earth and Mars and Mercury. Just, you know, it was like, wow. Freaking amazing. I am blown away every time they send something back. And it's like, how do people not get excited about that, you know? We've never seen this before, and people are like, meh, it's Jupiter. Nah, we've never seen that before. We've seen the blurry thing, but now we're seeing close-ups, and things we thought were formations are actually like gas clouds and things. So it's like, wow. And in that article, if you click into it, I think they actually have the video of this thing exploding. And I've always been a weirdo like that. Like when they test bombs out in the ocean, the mushroom clouds it makes in the water and shit. I've always found that pretty amazing. And the way they captured this one, it was like, oh, wow. That was pretty cool. They used the good stuff.
One way or the other.
Right.
Yep.
Very cool.
Nature is
Yeah.
amazing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've just become adjusted or accustomed because of the moonwalks. All of a sudden, you know, the public doesn't want to pay any attention to moonwalks. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
Ever since
still
Michael
amazing.
Jackson died, right?
thank you, Mike. I was trying to get that out, but no one would let me. So
Well, and that's like when we our satellite flew past Pluto, and everybody was like, man, it's like, guys, you don't understand. This is the furthest we've ever seen. We do not know what is on the other side of Pluto, and we just passed it. I mean, it's like, wake up, people.
How
This
is
is
that
flipping
not
cool.
Goofy is behind Pluto, so you know.
Yep. But, you
And
know, a lot
Donald
of
and
people,
Mickey.
they don't understand the importance of space travel and what we could possibly learn from that. It's like so much. So much. You know, the rover we have on Mars right now. What if there's soil up there that cures cancer? We don't know because we've never seen or checked it out. We don't know. And that's why it's exciting, is every day we're getting closer to knowing, you know. And that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. For my news item, I've actually got a couple articles because it gave a little different information, but this actually came down today. But apparently the wedding industry in Las Vegas is all shook up.
Oh.
Y'all heard about this?
No.
No.
Yes, I did.
The Authentic Brands Corporate Group had sent out cease and desist letters early last month to several wedding chapels saying they cannot use Elvis impersonators for the ceremonies.
Oh. And how many thousands of years has Las Vegas been using Elvis for wedding ceremonies? What made the change?
Well, they probably realized how. I don't know, because I did a lookup, and this group purchased the company that had the rights to the likeness of Elvis and use of the name Elvis Presley, King of Rock and Roll, and all that kind of stuff in 2013. And now they're doing this. I don't know why it's been so long, but
I mean, can you copyright a likeness?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I think of all the drag queens doing like Liza Minnelli and Mariah Carey and
the article kind of touches on that, at least in terms of Nevada. There is a law where Elvis impersonators can do shows. It's in the law where they can be able to do that. It's not a problem. This is something different. So I think the article talked about Graceland Wedding Chapel performs 6,400 marriages a year.
damn.
And according to these articles, it's a $2 billion industry in Las Vegas.
I believe
It's now going to be devastated by this.
Yeah,
Damn.
because I mean, it's just not the same. I mean, going to Vegas to get married is.
Why?
The vast majority of people who do that go to be married by Elvis. I mean, come on, or an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, it's like a big part of Vegas.
Yeah, it either Elvis is officiating or giving away the bride, or it's some part of the wedding.
Yeah,
that's the reason why you go to Las Vegas if you want to get married. And now they're taking this group is taking that away. So
see, I can see getting around that. Instead of being Elvis, it's going to be Pelvis. Or
according to the article, there was one chapel. What they did was their Elvis impersonator changed into a quote a leather jacket, jeans, and a fedora, and basically it's a rock and roll theme ceremony.
Yeah.
I guess you get away with that because he's not dressed as Elvis.
Yeah, you could say that you're Eddie from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I mean, all you've got is the hair and the sunglasses, but I mean, God, everybody has that kind of hair or sunglasses, that kind of thing. So I mean, there's probably going to be some ways some people get around it, but yeah, I mean, it just came down today, and I was like, wow. It seems like it took them a long, long time to come around and decide to put their foot down on this. Because, like I said, they purchased the company that they own 85% of it. They have the controlling interest of the likenesses and so forth. And it's like, why did it take you 9 years or so to do this?
And not only that, sorry to put it this way, but why be a dick? You know? It's fun and something kooky people go to Vegas to do. Why rain on their parade?
Liz.
Some people just like the really fun. Right.
Yeah.
Ching.
Well, then,
and this way they have a
instead of
monopoly
saying
on
they
it.
can't, why don't they say, okay, you guys, because if you break, 64, whatever it was, breaks down to almost 1,300 weddings a week. Why don't you say, okay, you pay us a percentage. If you're doing an Elvis, then pay us $50, or
I
you
would
know.
not be even a little bit surprised if within a few weeks that is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's more than likely the
They
end
will-
goal
They
is
could
is where
easily
they'll.
they could shut them down and then wait a couple of weeks and then say, okay, if you want to do it, you have to pay us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a licensed
Here-
Elvis,
here's-
or you
here's
can go
a-
get the
yeah.
bootlegged Elvis.
That's probably the end goal is just where they can control it
Yeah.
and they can make money off of it. Which, yeah, I mean, they own everything else. I mean, if you buy an Elvis T-shirt or a beer mug or something like that, you know, they're behind it. They made that happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just Elvis. You mentioned Marilyn Monroe and some of
Yeah.
the others because, you know, I mean, that's been one of the things that was kind of discussed a few years back when they started kind of messing around with CGI and using deceased actors. You know, if you bring back an actor and basically he's all completely CGI for this role, okay, well, does the estate get a percentage of that because you're using their likeness?
Right.
I
You
would
have
say in that kind of case, yes. Because usually if you're bringing back that, I think of when they did Tupac. When they brought Tupac back, it wasn't as just some guy. It was Tupac. So I could see paying the estate for that because you're actually using him, you know, not a lookalike, not a, you know, an actual image of him. But in a case like Elvis, or I think of hell, the most famous drag queen, Divine. How many different characters did she do? You know, it's more of a. I would see it more as like a parody almost than a likeness of that person. Because usually they have some kind of different name than Liza Minnelli or, you know. I just think it's you would have to trademark everything about Elvis that makes Elvis Elvis. His glasses, the hairstyle, the
And you think
flashy
they have
suit.
not?
Well, see, but even with fashion, it gets kind of tricky on what you can do with fair use before it's a straight up ripoff. I mean, think of how many people, instead of buying Gucci, go and buy Gucci because it's cheaper, you know, and they can do that, and it's almost exactly the same as a Gucci purse, but maybe the quality's a little different, well, definitely different, or it has
the
two
handle's
zippers
a different
instead of
color
one.
or
Yeah.
whatever, right.
So there's always a way of getting around that complete likeness that it seems like with these Elvis people, like you said, with the jacket and stuff, you can get around it and just say, well, I'm not doing Elvis. I'm Eddie from.
Well,
you know,
well, and some will do that, but I'm just,
that's crazy though.
I'm not saying anything's right or wrong. I just,
Yeah.
you know,
I think Elvis would see it as flattery. Just me, myself. I think he would see it as flattery.
well, it'd be interesting to see if
He would,
Priscilla
but he
says one
might-
thing or the other.
Right, but he would, but he might also want his descendants to
His
get
cut,
paid
yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
right? If somebody's going to be making money off of it, then he would want a cut.
Well, it depends on if he was
Rightly
Elvis
so.
or if he was the, what was it, Boba Tep Elvis?
Bubba Hotep, yeah,
Yeah, Boba Tep.
that did occur to me. But
Which it makes you wonder, how did he do that?
They got clearance.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
it's a fun
So-
movie too, by the way. But
That
It
was.
is.
anyway,
I finally got Brandon to watch that one. He didn't get it as much as we did because, you know, he doesn't know who JFK is or Elvis, so it was like,
right.
it's lost on you millennials.
Ouch.
Well, on mine that I raised. No shot at anyone.
Just yourself. But
Right.
anyway,
No hate.
Okay. Any special shout outs this week? Or mentions?
No. I actually will. This is. I'm gonna shout out our listeners for putting up with this episode, or
This
at
was
least,
a little different.
or at least we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Hooray for you.
You long-suffering people, you.
Gluttons for punishment.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes to Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of fellow podcasts. There will be a link in the show notes where you can check them out. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Potter and Family, who've been so gracious as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. And for you, the best way for you to check them out is to go to Twitter and do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, all one word. Just scroll through, and whatever catches your attention, please click on that link and download that episode, and I hope you have a good time listening to them. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying music to our podcast. Great group of guys. If you want to check out their music, there is a link in the show notes as well. And finally, you, dear listener, we're gonna shout you out again. We do appreciate your support as always, and we value your feedback. Any questions, comments, complaints, observations, suggestions, what have you, please send them our way. There are several avenues to do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or go to the website, and on the About Us page, there is a contact form you can fill out. We did mention the Discord earlier. We do have a channel specifically for feedback. You can post your comments there. On social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. We are also on Instagram, have been for a little bit. It's at Fellowship Geeks, and obviously we're on Twitter, the same name, at Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you take a couple of moments to rate and review our show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for bearing with us.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,